Danganronpa's formula is its detriment. Now you may be wondering, Samuel Proxia, what do you mean by formula? And I'm going to explain. Formula, I mean the structure and just the way the story is formulated, okay? I know I basically just described the meaning of the word by just using the word, but you'll understand what I mean when I actually talk about it. So as an example, when I talk about formula, I mean like the fact that every single one of the games has 6 chapters. Every single one of the games has, I don't know, a male side antagonist and a female main antagonist, that kind of thing. And there's layers to this, it's not just as simple as that, and I'm going to go over all the different things that each game shares, and how they could spice things up, because I think this game's creativity and output is limited by the fact that they all kind of, not blend into one of course, they're all individual games, but the fact that they all kind of follow the same strict formula, and even when they do divert from it, you know, say chapter 1 they divert, chapter 2 it goes straight back to normal, kind of like in V3. Because that's the thing, when I'm talking about formula, you can tell that games like Ultra Despair Girls and V3 tried to divert from the formula. Well, no, actually, Ultra Despair Girls did divert from the formula because it's a completely different game. Yeah, it still has 6 chapters, but that doesn't really matter. Fact of the matter is, it changed the formula in various different ways, and that is primarily because it's not a visual novel, it's not a killing game, it's a completely different experience, and no, this isn't me saying Ultra Despair Girls is better than Danganronpa 1, 2, and 3, V3 as well, it's me saying that I think they should be more experimental. Now, you may be thinking that sounds kind of ridiculous, because think of all the media in this franchise. You've got Danganronpa 1, 2, V3, the 3 anime, which is still a killing game in some sense, but it's also incredibly different. Ultra Despair Girls, incredibly different. Danganronpa S, I'm not talking about that one. Danganronpa 0, the novel, not a killing game. Danganronpa If, yeah, a killing game, but, you know, it's different. So you may be thinking, Sam, why are you such a complaining, whining little prick when the series has diverted from its formula before? Well, I'm talking about diverting from the killing game formula, not doing something new altogether. That's not the same thing. There's a difference between diverting from the formula and innovating entirely. You know, you don't have to go all the way, you can go halfway, still have a killing game, but freshen it up a little bit, which they don't do. Now, I feel like there are there's a few reasons why they don't really change the formula. A is probably because people in general don't really like change. You know, someone gets used to something, they get used to a set process and a series of things that will remain the same, changing them slightly, but, fundamentally they are the same, and then you change it and people are like, oh no, I don't like that. Gamers are impossible to satisfy because we're all whiny little grubby pricks, aren't we? And I feel like that is one of, if not the main reason why it isn't done, because yeah, at the end of the day, this is a franchise that the writers clearly love, but they don't want to go too crazy because then people won't even like it anymore, because it will be completely different from what they once knew and loved. But, like I say, you can still go halfway, but even then some people will still be dissatisfied, as has been proven many times in gaming history when games have tried to divert from what they've done in the past, and people naturally don't like it. And I get it, people come to expect things, and this isn't me saying Danganronpa needs to divert from the formula, otherwise I'm not going to like it. I love this franchise, I'm super excited for Danganronpa 2x2, and I know 2x2 is not going to divert from the formula very much, and I'm prepared for that, and I'm not really mad about it, but I'm basically just saying, if, Danganronpa was my ideal, this is what I would do. But I know they're not going to, and it's for the reasons that I'm outlining right now. Next, this isn't me calling, the developers lazy, but, they're being safe. It's safe to just kind of have a structure and do things the same every time. Safe because, yeah, it means that you don't really have to think too hard about it. Yeah, you still think and how to change things, but you have a set way of doing things, if you know what I'm trying to say. This isn't me saying Danganronpa 1, 2, V3 are all the same fucking thing, they're just tweaking things, because they're not, they're absolutely not. But you have a set structure and characters, tropes, trial ideas, trial plot points and stuff kind of get reused and recycled in ways that are fresh, but, aren't really diverting from what was already established, because that's safe, easy, and it guarantees that people aren't going to be fucking kicking and screaming. And again, I'm not, fucking shaming the developers here. I get why they're doing it. I'm just trying to say this is what I would do if this was my franchise and I didn't have to worry about the financials of the whole fucking thing. But, like I say, this kind of formula limits the creativity of the franchise, and V3 is a perfect example of kind of proving my point, but also just as an example, right? Take Danganronpa V3. They try to divert from the formula. You know, it's all about truth and lies and doing things that you don't come to expect, but they don't go all the way with it. And I love V3. You guys know V3 is my favorite game in the franchise. I adore it. But I'm not going to sit here and claim it's the best game of all time, because it absolutely is not. They tried to do things and they didn't go all the way with them, okay? That's the problem. Trial 1 of V3 is fantastic, and it diverted so much from the formula. It was so well done, but then like the next 4 chapters are just kind of falling back into the same tropes and ideas that you used in the past 2 games, which I get it, it's, you know, being safe, but you're going to divert in the first chapter and then the rest of the game just do things the way you were doing it before? What's the point in doing that? Either go all the way or don't go at all, okay? This isn't me saying I would have preferred Danganronpa V3 to just be the entire formula over and over again, but it's the fact they gave us that taste. You guys know in my video about Mukuro, I was like, they had something good there, but they didn't go all the way with it. That's kind of how it feels with V3. Yeah, I still think V3 is a fantastic game. There's so many very strong writing things and character moments and whatnot that work so well, and I've talked about them extensively in the past. If you want to check my playlists and whatnot, they're all in the description. But I just wish V3 stuck to the idea of diverting, because it only diverts in certain places, and yeah, it goes all the way for some things, but it's not consistent, and that's the problem. This isn't me saying that every single Danganronpa needs to be fundamentally different from one another. No, they can still follow a similar structure, but I feel like it's too samey, too similar. It's not diverting enough to the point where, yeah, each game feels fresh, but not fresh enough to the point where I don't look at things and think, okay, well, that's a parallel to this, that's a parallel to that. And it's like a lot of these things just blend into one. Things like every chapter 3 being a double murder, which just doesn't need to happen at all. Every chapter 5 being an unsolvable murder, and yeah, unsolvable murders are great, but why every chapter 5? Why can't chapter 5 be still amazing and still shocking, but do something different? It doesn't have to be that every time. Or do an unsolvable murder in chapter 4, or chapter 2, or chapter 1, spice things up a little bit. Don't just have every single thing follow similar tropes and ideas when they don't need to. Other examples include always having a female mastermind. I guess Izuru and Kazuo Tengen from Danganronpa 3 are exceptions to that rule, but not really, because Junko's still a major thing there, you know what I mean? It's always... And I'm talking mainly about the games here, okay? Because you've got Junko, Monika, you've got Samugi. They're all kind of similar in terms of personality and true nature and whatnot. And I feel like it didn't need to be that way, but it was, because it's safe, it's samey, it satisfies the fans without pissing people off by doing something new that they don't like. But I feel like by doing that, you're limiting the creativity of what the franchise could possibly be. Same with every single side antagonist being a man. Byakuya, Nagito, Kokichi. And yeah, this isn't me saying those characters are bad, they're amazing characters, but you know, I heard that Akane was apparently going to be a female antagonist in Danganronpa 2. Why did they not do that? And I hope they do that in Danganronpa 2x2, because yeah, this isn't me saying, oh, you need to change all the genders of these characters for me to start caring. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But, you know, different people and different genders can kind of react to things in different ways for different reasons, and if they were able to take note of that and utilize that in putting them into these character roles, it could make things more interesting and would stop them from falling into the same tropes every single time. Also, if we're talking like a male mastermind, you wouldn't see that coming nearly as much as you would a female mastermind, because they've done female masterminds over and over again. I feel like you would be less likely to suspect a male mastermind, so it would be more shocking, more interesting, more emotional. Maybe not more emotional inherently, but it could be if they handled it correctly. And it's just the little things like that, and the things that every single kind of game repeats and does over and over and over again when they don't really need to. And like I say, V3 tries to criticize this, but ultimately falls into the same things it's criticizing, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And like I say, I love V3, but you criticize a lot of these things of, you know, the franchise just being the same thing over and over, but then you're not really making an effort to change that. You're only half changing it because you're scared that people aren't going to like it. And I mean, it's true, people didn't like it. So many people still to this day complain what happened in V3 Chapter 1 and V3 Chapter 6. People do complain, so they're right in being nervous to change things up. But I personally loved V3 and loved the fact that it tried to change things. I just wish it went all the way with it, but it didn't. I am such a whiny little prick all the time, aren't I? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like and comment down below what your thoughts on the formula is. How would you spice up the formula of Danganronpa? How would you change the structure? Let me know, get involved in the conversation, and please consider, as always, this is just my opinion. I'm not right, I'm not wrong, this is just me spewing some shit. And if you find some contradictions in what I'm saying, let me know, because I want you to tell me that I'm a stupid prick, okay? Please do so. Also, thank you to Ella for being a super proxter. If you want to join the channel, it would support me a lot, or just subscribe, you know, that helps as well. Thank you for watching once again, and I will see you all next week. Peace out.